Now the Spirit of the Lord is the one that speaks through me. Before my mother's womb, he ordained and knew me, ransomed me, and placed his words upon my tongue. Few are chosen, rest assured that I am one, an ambassador for Christ, his beloved son. And by his word, let souls be one. So welcome everyone to this listening party. Sit back and let your souls be hearty. Celebrate with me the gift that God has imparted. And what better way to get this party started than to give him the stage, because he knows where your heart is. Holy Spirit, you are welcome in this place. Give me the boldness to look upon each face and speak every word that you've given me to say. With no fear, I speak truth. I won't deviate, and I'm confident that all will go great. So let your presence saturate this place. I breathe in your spirit, I intake a river full of life, water in every dry place. As I flow to the notes that heaven navigates, let it bless every listener and free them today. Let the truth of your word draw souls to be saved. Let the comforter comfort hearts today, and let the light of your word show them the way. Every time I write, I tell his story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. He opens up to me and shows me his glory. He gives me the strength to keep on soaring, and when I open up my mouth, for him I'm roaring. And the Spirit of the Lord goes before me. To the captive set free, that's reassuring. Over the years he strengthened my inner core, and every day I wake up just seeking him more. Am I ready for this? In my spirit I'm sure. I am in Christ and my Father I adore. He redeemed me from destruction, I am his ambassador. As the world turns and open up the door, I step in with purpose to win souls for the Lord. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell the story as I bask in the truth of his word before me.
Let's try missing one. And we, LOVE, love sports and the Word of God on the Tom the Bomb Show. Yes, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, okay, at Tom the Bomb Sports Talk on YouTube. You can also contact us by email at info@tomthebombsports.com. And of course, you can always visit our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, we'd like to personally thank you all for your prayers and support and to contributing. Okay, hold on. All right.
Hold an example.
All right. Yeah.
Not earlier.
Yeah. Okay. One cosmonaut short. We good. All right. We thank you for our ministers. I sincerely with that appreciate well, you totally got me off now, Felix. Look, you guys.
He has stuff to do, man.
Yes, all right. You can keep blessing us to keep creating compelling content and spreading the word of God. Listen, our business cash up here is hashtag $Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. Again, that's $Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And we sincerely thank you, and may God bless you 100-fold return on the seed that you sow into our ministry at the Tom the Bomb Show. As usual, we want to start off by thanking God for all the wonderful things that He's already done for us through 2025 on into 2026 that He's already done for us. But we're talking about the new things. We're excited about the new things happening in 2026. Okay. And our theme for 2026, it's still the year of discovery for grace and beyond in 2026, so that we can be transformed to a level that none of us has walked in before. And 2026 can be the best year of our lives, and that's what we're believing for. That's what we're releasing our faith for. Amen. Our foundational scripture for 2026 is found in 2 Peter 3:18, and that's the Good News Translation Bible, and it says, "But continue to grow in grace and the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. To Him be the glory now and forever. Amen." To God be the glory. Right there. Hey, gang, I'm pleased to announce that our Community Hope Center at VCCI, Victory Christian Church International, we've started our grocery distribution program. Okay. And we're feeding 50 families. We're feeding 50 families in designated zip codes on the third Saturday of each month uh, at 11 a.m. Eastern. Our location is at 7-7 Metropolitan Court in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Okay. That's 20878. And it's open to all the residents of the following zip codes: 20877, 20878, 20879, 20855, and 20882, and anyone that lives in Montgomery Village. Okay. It's on a first come, first served basis while supplies last. You can scan the QR code to register, or you can also register on site. But all participants must complete a registration form. Please, 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 please. Our goal is to work up to 100 families soon. So be in agreement with us that we can reach this goal. We want to be a blessing to the community that we serve. You know, our late pastor used to tell us that if a church leaves the community and the community didn't miss the church, then that means the church was never supposed to be there in the first place. Okay. So we want to be a blessing to our community. Hey, gang, let's get to our trivia question for today. Our trivia question for today is Illinois freshman sensation Keaton Wagler, who scored 20 points in the Final Four game against UConn, and Braylon Mullins of UConn became the second set of freshmen to score 15 points or more in an NCAA Final Four game against each other. So here's the question. Name the first pair of freshmen to pull that feat off. Name the first freshmen that pull that feat off. Okay, that's our trivia question for today. Troy, Felix, you guys think about that and mull that over. We'll get back to you. Now let's get to our poll question from last week. And our poll question from last week was, if injuries had never happened, which one of these NBA players would have been the best? A was Penny Hardaway. B was Derrick Rose. C was Grant Hill. D was Tracy McGrady. And E was Brandon Roy. It was close, guys. It was really close. It was tight. It was actually closer than what I thought. This was kind of going to be a runaway, but it was a lot closer than what I thought. But Derrick Rose got the most votes. So most of you guys out there thought that, barring injury, that Derrick Rose probably would have been the best of the bunch. But this is one of those deals where give me the one that you don't want. They all had great, great futures, and injuries cut them all short. No poll question this week. So let's get right into the NCAA Final Four games. The road ends here. Let's get right to the Final Four games. Let's start off with Illinois versus UConn. You guys know my heart bleeding orange on this one. The UConn men will play for its third men's NCAA tournament title in the last four seasons. But it didn't come easy, as the number two seeded Huskies shot a horrific 29% from the field in the second half. But uh, but the Fighting Illini obliged with one of the worst offensive performance of the season. Ultimately, what I saw was UConn's experience over Illinois' inexperience to allow the Huskies to move on past number three seeded Illinois 71-62. You live by the three, you die by the three. Going 6 for 26, and when you throw in 18 for 23 from the foul line, while UConn made a school high of 12 3-pointers, it just seemed to be in the cards. Known for their offensive rebounding advantage, the difference in the game was all of Illinois missed putbacks and layups. It seemed like Illinois' basket had a lid on it, and UConn got all of the right bounces when they needed it most. UConn led practically the whole game, but the Illini got to within a basket late, but couldn't get the key defensive rebound, and UConn took advantage and pushed the lead back to 66-62 with 43 seconds left. And freshman sensation Braylon Mullins, the Duke killer, hit his only basket in the second half, a huge key three-pointer that put the dagger in the heart of the Illini. Illinois had a great season, making it to the Final Four, but they picked the worst time to have their worst shooting and scoring night. UConn's defense had a lot to do with that. Okay, I thought I thought they had some bad strategy, but all year long, Illinois has been blowing teams out. and they've lost the close games. Okay, I thought they should have kept pounding the ball inside, but Kylan Boswell played. I thought he played probably too many minutes, and Andres Stojakovic, I didn't think he played enough minutes. Okay, UConn UConn only gets in trouble when they stop running their offense through Terrace Reed Jr. I think when they do that, they're hard to stop and hard to beat. Troy, what did you think of the Illinois UConn game, Troy?
Uh, well, you definitely made a great point. They didn't have the right game plan. Well, actually, no, let me not say it like that. Let me put it this way: they couldn't score in the half court. As an offensive team that's used to putting up big points, to only have three total assists in the entire game, that's not good enough in the final fourth.
I agree.
That's a sign that it's a lot of one-on-one ball or fast break ball, but it's not, keep swinging the ball, get easy buckets off the pass. And I feel like with UConn, they didn't really play that great in regards to shooting,
Hmm.
but they only had four turnovers all game. They had 14 total assists. And even while getting out rebounded 42 to 33, they still found a way to win this game by almost double digits by 9 points. So I look at it as they're going to be a tough out. They shoot really well from the free throw line. They don't really make mistakes. If they start making shots, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Hmm. Felix, what was your thoughts on Illinois and UConn, Felix? Did we lose Felix? Okay. I thought that.
I'm sorry.
Y- are you there, Felix?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm having some sort of tech issue. So I was actually saying Illinois had 8 turnovers in this game. And if you look at UConn, they had 8 points off of turnovers. Margin of victory for UConn, 9 points. What does that tell you? Turnovers played a pivotal role in the results of this game.
Mhm.
Double the amount of turnovers. And yeah, like Troy said, Troy made that point. If I didn't say it earlier, that was really the key. If you think about it, if your shooting field goal percentage is as low as it was, I mean, you kind of put one and one together. If your field goal percentage was not that great, your opponent, I mean, I have to be honest, Illinois was a little bit worse, but the turnovers are what really tipped the scale.
Mhm, mhm. You know, I thought Illinois could have won this game. Like I said, man, it just seemed like the worst time to have their worst shooting night, and it was just amazing the layups and the putbacks that they missed. I mean, just easy shots, and Merkovich, who's been fantastic all year long, they just got nothing out of him. But I don't want to diminish what UConn was doing on defense because I think that played a good part in Illinois not shooting as well. As a matter of fact, UConn beat Illinois twice, and those two games were Illinois both of the worst shooting games of the season, both coming against UConn. I don't think that's a coincidence. What do you think, Felix?
Sorry, can you say that last part again?
I said I don't think it's a coincidence that the two games that they lost to UConn, they had their worst shooting nights. I don't think that's a coincidence for Illinois.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that really just speaks to defense, the defensive skill, being able to force again contested shots, and that's kind of a big thing that you don't see. How do I put it? In modern basketball, people are always going for the quick shot.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
what are people doing? They're trying to long range shots. So that forces defense maybe to be a little more conservative. You're kind of assuming that your team, your opponent's not going to require that much defense to make the shot harder. But again, playing that classic defense, staying on your opponents, that's something that definitely has an impact there. So yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, if you have a low shooting percentage, against the same opponent and you're an otherwise solid shooting team, I mean, there's really one conclusion.
mhm. Hey guys, talk to this. Now that the season is over for the Fighting Illini, there's talk that Keaton Wagler is probably a top five or top six uh, draft choice for the NBA. I personally think it's a huge, huge, huge mistake for this young man to go into the NBA. I love his game. I love his game. I think he's got to get bigger. He's got to get stronger. I think his outside shot needs a little bit more work, and he's just got to put more muscle. I think he needs to work on his footwork on defense as well. I think he'll be badly exposed if he goes to the NBA right away. And the other thing too, I want you guys to ask that, what's the rush? I mean, Come on now. Now with NIL money, he can make $3 or $4 million staying at Illinois, getting his game better, and even upping his status in the draft. Troy, what's your thought on Keaton going into the NBA draft now, or maybe waiting at least one more year? What's your thoughts on that, Troy?
Uh, well, I mean, if you're a top prospect that's supposed to be drafted in the top 10, why not?
Okay.
Think about it. You don't gotta be in the NBA right now. You could be in the G League. That's what a lot of people do. Look, man, look, there's still I don't understand how Mac McClung, the MVP of the G League this year, is not on an active roster in the NBA. The NBA is deep, right? So just because you are a top pick doesn't mean that you're going to get all the shine as quick as you think. But with that said, man, look, you get a chance. Forget going up against college prospects who are still, good bump. You're going up against professionals, grown men
Right.
that feed their families off of this,
Right.
right? So why not spend time with grown men, lift with grown men, right? Put yourself in a position to where I can learn a lot from you. I'm just a little bit more athletic than you, right? It's like ultimately he has talent. He can shoot. He can run the floor. But again, like you said, put muscle on. Put muscle on around men that are in the scenario that you're in. That's only going to make you hungrier. So that like when you do get minutes in the rotation in the NBA, you'll be more exposed to what to like prepare for.
So you think if he's going to be in the top, 5 to 10, he should go? That's your thoughts, Troy?
No, I mean, look, man. What happens if you get hurt? God forbid something happens. You feel me? But like,
Well,
what happens if you mess your knee up? What happens if X, Y, and Z happen? When
well,
the opportunity presents itself, ask Matt Leinart if he should have went out his junior year. Let me put it that way,
I
right?
totally agree with that. But what's different now than then is they can make $4 million a year and be in school. Felix, what's your thought? You think he should go or stay? What's your thoughts, Felix?
I would say that you made a very important point. Like, it would depend on how much you're making with NIL money. So, I mean, if he's making NIL money and he can stay in the NCAA, maybe if he invests the money, he doesn't spend it, saves it up. Maybe that's a good idea. But I would actually say, you know what? That aside, hmm,
Well,
ideally I'd say that if you have a chance to go pro, you go pro, because like Troy said, you don't know if an injury happens, so it depends. Is his pro contract going to be the same or equal the NIL deal? Because that's a question that we would have asked 10 years ago.
mhm.
But in any other situation, I'd say definitely go pro, because guess what? Only 1%, actually 0.1% of people get that far. If the opportunity presents itself, you take it
Mhm.
and you see how far it takes you. But I would say that if he is to stay, he's got to invest that NIL money. He can't really spend any of it.
Well, so I was just saying, I did a study of like the top college athletes and their NLI money, and the top players are making $4 million with their NIL money. I think he can command that kind of money now, especially if he's going to go. But let me just say this: when I was a freshman in high school, I started varsity football, and I was 14 years old, and I was playing with guys that was 18 years old, and my talent and skill level was good enough to play with those 18-year-olds. But let me tell you, I had nothing in common at 14 with an 18-year-old, and I had no business being around them. We're talking about Keaton can't be more than 18 or 19, and now he's going into the NBA to, like you just said, Troy, to be around grown men, doing grown men things, being exposed to grown men things. What you guys thought on that?
Oh man. Well, look, respectfully, in today's day and age, let me put it this way. We experience grown men and women things at a very young age now. So I don't even look at that as a transition because you're already a D1 athlete at the University of Illinois for the Fighting Illini. Like you got clout, right? So it's not like you're not exposed to what real life is. So I look at it as, look, man, all money ain't good money. I can't emphasize that enough. I don't care if I make 1 million more this year. The 1 million I make less, look what I get exposed to. Look what I am now. I'm no longer a. I can go back to college if I need to finish, but it's like, look, I'm a pro athlete at this point. This is my calling, and if I have the opportunity to go top 10, if someone says, "Yeah, I'm gonna get drafted sixth right now in the first round," I'm taking it.
That's where they're projecting him. They're projecting him sixth, seventh, eighth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Felix, close us out on that thought. Close us out on this, Felix.
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. I mean, it's a transition, but the thing is, yeah, some people transition to new parts of life, sooner or later than others. Everyone goes to their own state. So, like, I mean, the whole transition, I mean, eventually you're saying he's going to be around grown men, talking about grown men things. It happens. I mean, on the regular person level, you have what? Kids working fast food, they got the coworkers. I mean, or not fast food, but kids working jobs in general. They might have coworkers, whatever age that happens. College students, same thing. I mean, it's something that's a shock. It's a culture shock. I mean, you even brought up the point of high school.
Mhm.
Entering
Felix,
high school itself. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, but Phyllis and Troy, do you guys remember when the Wizards took Kwame Brown #1 overall? And I just remember reading stories about how he didn't know how to do anything, but yet he was a #1 draft pick in the NBA, you know. And I just remember reading that article, and he admitted himself that off the basketball court he was lost. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Felix, with your thought.
No, 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 that's a valid point, and that's the thing. Like at some point, people are going to be new to different stages of life, and transitions they have to happen. They're smoother for some than others, and really, I'd have to say, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying 100%. People should take this into account, and the players themselves should also take that into account as well.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean that the person shouldn't go that next level. I mean, even entering high school, that's a transition. I remember going from being around middle schoolers to having classmates that are 18, 19 that are
Mhm.
talking about
Mhm.
their jobs and whatever,
Mhm.
then going from high school, being a senior in high school, having classmates that were freshmen that were 13.
Mhm.
The next year, I have, classmates that are grown adults with families. So, I mean, it's a transition. It happens.
Okay,
And
let's
I,
go ahead, Troy.
I'm sorry. Before we wrap up, I just want to say something to you.
Uh-huh.
You know, I remember if you right, Kwame Brown, he had no business. Kid was out of high school. He's part of the reason why they made that transition to at least play 1 year collegiately or overseas or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But I look at it as I remember when they drafted John Wall, #1, 1 year out of Kentucky. And quite honestly, out of Holy Cross High School, he could have been the #1 pick if they allowed high school prospects to go to the draft that year. So it just depends on who you are. If you really built like that, and that's when scouting comes into play. You got to make sure that the young man has what it takes to take things seriously, as opposed to when he eat Popeyes 3 days out the week like Kwame did.
Yeah.
You must have you read that article too. He said he ate Popeye's chicken every night. Let's move on to our next game. We got the Michigan Wolverines versus the Arizona Wildcats. The Wolverines demolished another opponent in a historic beatdown of #1 seed Arizona of the #1 seed Arizona Wildcats. I thought Michigan could win if CJ Stroud didn't throw 4 interceptions in the first half, but no, but no one thought they would utterly dominate Arizona like they did, 91-73. This game was never in doubt. This this was the game that everybody wanted to see. It was most people were thinking that this would be like the real national championship game. Arizona's coach Tommy Lloyd said they were outstanding tonight. The Wolverines punched the Wildcats in the mouth early, and they never recovered as Michigan kept Arizona on the ropes all night long. Coach Lloyd said, "No one has been able to do that to us all year long. I've been saying all year long that no one is more talented than the Michigan Wolverines, and that they'll only go as far as their point guard, Elliot Cadeau, leads them." The most impressive thing of the night for me, guys, was Michigan losing their All American Player of the Year, Yaxel Lindenborg, with a left MCL sprain and an ankle injury in the first half, and it didn't even matter. What we're looking at with Michigan is an extremely talented team that's very, very well coached. Michigan has the best front court in the nation with Ade Amara had 26 points and 9 rebounds. Morris Johnson Jr. had 10 points and 7 rebounds. How did Illinois let him go? And the injured All-American and Yaxel Lindenborg. They're extremely physical and maybe the best defensive team in the country. And if they're making their threes, Troy, then Michigan is unbeatable if they're making their threes. Adaimora put on a virtuoso display using his 7'3" size to establish the low post presence at both ends of the courts. The Wolverines ran the alley oop to perfection on multiple occasions. He forced Arizona, check this stat out, Felix, to shoot 7 for 15 on layups and dunks. That's outstanding. Finally, the Big Ten, always beating each other up during the regular season, finally took it out on the rest of the country. Coach Dusty May said Ade was sensational. Let's go, Big Blue. Felix, what was your thoughts on Michigan and Arizona?
So I would say again, you're talking about a matchup between two of the best teams in college basketball. So of course that was a matchup. Excuse me. Of course, that was a matchup you were expecting to be much closer. That you were expecting this to be much better. But Michigan, they kind of showed what exactly they're capable of. Again, Arizona, take nothing away from them. They've been a perennial for a reason. But I think Michigan showed us right there why they were at the top this year. And I don't think there's any way better by knocking off a perennial, not just a good team, but a Final Four perennial by almost 20 points. So I think with what Michigan did, they're setting a tone, and I think that they might be a presence in the Final Four from now on. Arizona, well, I, you could say maybe I don't want to say that they're falling off per se. Maybe they just got shocked. Maybe they weren't expecting all this from Michigan. But I think that's left to be seen for future years with Arizona. But I think this Michigan team, I think that we should expect play like this for the next few years.
Troy, what was your take on Michigan and Arizona?
Well, what's great about Michigan is when they need to just play bully ball, they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that when your star go down, you lean on your center and just use him to just create havoc within 5 feet of the basket. And it's heartening to see a 7'3" guy that doesn't want to shoot threes. I mean, he took 1 3 to come in the game, but ultimately he's just trying to get to the bucket. And it's going to be hard to stop. Terrace going to have some trouble trying to contain him, especially considering his birthday is tomorrow. So that bag got one thing on his mind only to finish the job off. One thing I'll say about Michigan too, uh, even with Elliot Cadeau having 6 turnovers, he still found a way to take control of this game from the point guard position.
Mm-hmm.
Man had a double-double with 13 points and 10 assists,
Mm-hmm.
with 5 rebounds and 4 steals to add on to that. So them 6 turnovers, I could care less about that. It didn't affect him in regards to how he controlled the game and how he let, negative things
Yeah.
affect his overall mood on defense in particular.
Yep. He
So
did a good job
I
running the
look at
team. Mm-hmm.
he did. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like we talked about that. We was giving him slack about how if he throw 4 picks, was really he threw 6 in this scenario with turnovers. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ultimately he still found a way to outshine that.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. Right? You feel
Yeah,
me?
that's
So
right.
I feel as if you have that mindset, that's going to take you and your team far. Everybody has to feed off of that, especially Trey McKinney,
Mm-hmm.
because as he's coming off the bench, he's creating a spark. He's feeding off the energy that you're leaving off when he get off the court. Sometimes you even team up together on some occasions. But yeah, they're deep, man. Arizona, they ain't they had nothing. They couldn't do nothing with Michigan.
Nothing with him. Nothing with him. Boy, he had one dime that was Magic Johnson like. I mean, it was a spectacular bounce pass, like between three Arizona defenders. I was like, "Ooh, man, that should have been on top 10 plays on ESPN." So guys, UConn outlasted Illinois 71-62, and Michigan routed Arizona 91-73. So tonight they're playing for all the marbles. Okay. The national title game is set as number one seed Michigan Wolverines will take on number two seed the Yukon Huskies, who are playing in their third national championship game in the last 4 seasons. Can somebody say dynasty? It's tonight on TBS at 8:50 p.m. Eastern, bringing the NCAA tournament schedule to its exciting conclusion for one shining moment. Michigan opens as a 7.5 point favorite over the Yukon Huskies. Michigan is 0-4 in national championship game since winning it all with Steve Fisher in 1989, losing a pair of title shots with the Fab Five in 1992 and 1993. And then they had a runner up finish in 2013 and in 2018. Now, even though Michigan is favored in the matchup, there is an aspect of their program that's trying to shake off the years of frustration tonight. If UConn ends up concluding an all time tournament run, it will claim the program's third national championship in 4 years. That's fast approaching dynasty discussion as the Huskies would join the company of John Wooden's UCLA teams and Adolph Rupp's Kentucky run in terms of titles per year. Now, we already have seen UConn break the Duke Blue Devils nation's heart with one of the best wins of in the tournament in the Elite Eight, and then crushing my Fighting Illini. And now Coach Hurley is one win away from joining all-time company in sports history. Troy, tell me what to think about tonight's game and who do you like?
Well, you got unstoppable force from Michigan, who hasn't scored anything less than 90 points in any game this tournament, and then you got an experienced, well coached UConn team that's built for the scenario. They got two bigs that are going to go at it even without Lindenborg playing, and I look at it as it's a lot of talent, but I feel like ultimately experience is going to trump talent in this scenario. So I feel as if UConn is going to give everything they can give to Michigan. I think they're going to come up with the upset.
Okay, so you're taking UConn.
Yes.
Okay, now Felix. Now, while Felix bracket got tore up, Felix, I believe you picked UConn to win it all in the beginning. Am I right or wrong on that, Felix?
I mean, yeah, but I didn't expect Michigan to tear apart Arizona.
Yeah, but you picked UConn when a lot of people didn't.
Okay.
So tell me what you think about tonight's game, and are you sticking with UConn, Felix?
I'm going to say this. I objectively think Michigan's going to win at this point. I mean, again, it's one of those things about sports. Your prediction at the start of the season is completely different from what happens later on because of the unpredictable nature. But the fact of the matter is, I saw UConn go against Illinois. That was a hard fought game between two very good teams. But here's the thing: I don't think that UConn can rely on Michigan to make as many errors. And this Michigan team blew out their opponent. It's not a close game, not a good game. The Final Four, the Elite Four, rather, these are these are the best teams in college basketball. And you're supposed to have close games, but hey, Michigan pulled a blowout. I think UConn might make this a good game. I'm not saying Michigan's going to blow out UConn or this is going to be a repeat performance, but I think Michigan definitely has the edge here based on not just the skill to skill, but also comparing that against, how do I put it? Comparing this against other similar opponents, if you will.
Okay. All right. Well, being an Illinois fan, um, I can tell you that Michigan is a much better team than Illinois. I can tell you that for sure. Trust me on that. But here's the thing: for UConn to have a chance, and I mentioned this earlier, UConn gets in trouble when they go away from Cuz. When they run their offense through Terrace Reed Jr., man, that kid, now he looks NBA ready today, Troy, in that post, man. And when they run the offense through him and then allow him to kick it out to Braylon Mullins and some of the other guys, I think that's what makes UConn really tough and dangerous. But I'm with Felix. I'm taking Michigan in this one. Michigan has crushed everybody, and I don't know if they're going to crush UConn, but I know that Michigan is a better team than Illinois. And I thought if Illinois makes their putback and layups, I think Illinois would have beat UConn. Matter of fact, I told you guys I thought it was going to be Illinois and Michigan in the national championship game, and I said last week that Michigan would beat Illinois again. So I'm going to go with Michigan to win it all tonight. So Felix and I are with Michigan. Troy's taking UConn. I feel you. Go for. I like to see Cuz get that ring. Okay. All righty, guys. Let's get to the women's basketball NCAA Final Four. South Carolina versus UConn. Got to talk about this. The Gamecock end UConn's 54-game win streak, 62-48, and people are calling it an upset. First of all, it's the big dance, and anything can happen, right, Felix? But
Right.
but riddle me this. Riddle me this. Last year, Geno Auriemma and the Yukon Huskies beat Don Staley's South Carolina Gamecocks by 23 points last year in the Final Four. Come on, man. Come on, man. We're talking about a proud coach in Don Staley and a great program in South Carolina. They've been licking their chops and laying in the cut all year long waiting for Geno and the Huskies. And I bet that South Carolina was even hoping that UConn would stay undefeated just so they could pull the chair from under the Huskies as they tried to sit down on their 12th national championship. You like that, Lori? And Geno clearly didn't like it as he didn't like as acted like he acted like a petulant spoiled child who doesn't get what he wants and he's looking to blame anyone except himself. Not having his team ready for what he should have clearly known was going to be a war on the court. Now, UConn never matched South Carolina's intensity, never. I've been around sports long enough to know when one team was ready to play and the other team wasn't. If I can just regress with you guys just for a minute, quick minute, and take you guys back to my prep days at Assumption High School, everyone knows that East St. Louis is a football factory. Troy, I might have told you this before, but I feel as you didn't. I remember we had a big Friday night game, Felix, against a big school that was two classes above where we played because we were so good we could play above our classes. The game was scheduled at 8 p.m., Felix, and our
Mm.
team arrived at the school at 5 p.m. It's an 8 o'clock game. We got there at 5 p.m. And when we went into the gym, heading to the locker room, Felix, when we opened the door, their team was fully dressed with their helmets on and buckled up chin straps, and the whole section dressed. They had about 100 players dressed, and we had about 45 players on our whole team. Listen, we didn't lose games often. We lost 5 games in 4 years, Felix. I'm convinced that we lost that game when we walked into that gym. It was a great psych job by their coaching staff. They beat our butts that night. That's what happened to UConn, 62-48 on Friday night. Defense still wins championships, and the Gamecocks harassed the Huskies all night, holding UConn to their lowest shooting percentage, 31%, and 48 total points for the season. Joyce Edwards and Raven Johnson led the defensive charge against UConn's two All-Americans, Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. You finally fudded around and found out, didn't you, AZ? Fudd and Strong shot a combined 7 for 31. And when your stars play like that, ask Illinois, you're in trouble and you're going to lose. Tania Larson led the offensive charge for the Gamecocks with 16 points and 11 rebounds. Freshman Agat Makir added 14 points while scoring in double figures for her fifth straight game. It was shocking. It was shocking to see South Carolina Gamecocks defense Wreck It Ralph, a well-oiled machine, offensive machine of UConn, with their senior leadership and experience of AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong. This was shocking for a lot of people. Troy, what was your thoughts on South Carolina and UConn? We're going to get to Geno in a minute. Let's just talk about the game first, Troy.
Well, I mean, it was a dogfight for the most part. I mean, there were times where South Carolina took advantage of turnovers and ran the floor well, but it was two creams of the crop going at each other. Now, um, with that said, I feel as if South Carolina kind of birthed themselves out with the thought of beating UConn, that it didn't really transfer to the next game,
Okay,
which
we're
we'll
not
get
talking.
to.
I feel you.
I
I
know,
feel you. I feel you. I
no,
feel you. Let's
no,
stick with this one.
I know, but ultimately, yeah, South Carolina played good defense. They ran the floor well. They finished at the rim, and they deserved to win the game.
Felix, what was your thoughts on UConn and South Carolina? The game, just the game,
Just the game. Okay,
just the
so
game.
I'm not going to ask you about the results of that.
We're
Okay,
gonna get to the meat and potatoes. So let's just talk about the game on the floor. What was your thoughts of UConn and South Carolina? How South Carolina dominated them?
Yeah, this is no surprise. I'm actually shocked that college basketball fans are surprised by this. I
Hmm.
mean, South Carolina is a good team. They play solid defense, they play solid offense. I mean, it's really as cut and dry and simple as that. I honestly don't like to be too reductionist, but it's really that. And UConn, I take absolutely nothing away from them. They're one of the elite programs in college basketball. And yes, we didn't expect it to be such a dominant performance, but at the same time, I mean, did people legitimately think South Carolina could not beat UConn?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I just don't think they thought it was going to be a butt whooping the way they did. But like I said,
Fair
man,
enough.
they were Felix, I think they were waiting all year for UConn. I really do, man. Because, UConn beat them by 23 points last year in the national championship game. You can't smack somebody around like that and expect them to not be ready the next time they run into you. I think that's what was shocking. So, listen, guys, let's get to the ending of the South Carolina UConn national semifinal game. It was really kind of overshadowed by the exchange between UConn coach Geno Auriemma and South Carolina coach Don Staley, and it captured everyone's attention, including many top people in the basketball world, including former WNBA star Candace Parker, who was officially announced as a member of the Naismith Hall of Fame class of 2026 on Saturday, just ahead of the men's Final Four in Indianapolis. Parker, who has a history with UConn coach Geno Auriemma, dating back to her time as a player in the WNBA and college as well. She was asked about the heated confrontation between Auriemma and South Carolina coach Don Staley in the waning moments of the Gamecocks' upset over the Huskies. Candace Parker said, "In time, you see people's colors over and over again." Parker said, "And there can be a separation of time with that, but the colors always come to light." I think the colors were shown yesterday on both sides, right? However, you want to take that, however you want to take that is what she said. Okay, now I watched this game, and the sad ending and the Trump-like behavior by Gino Ariama towards Don Staley. I said this afterwards. I said, if he doesn't apologize in the next 24 48 hours, there won't be any more Gino at UConn, despite his 11 NCAA championship rings. So on Saturday, he issued a so called apology, taking full responsibility for his conduct during the closing moments of the Huskies' season ending loss to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Now, here's what Gino said in his so called apology. He said, "I want to apologize to the staff, the team at South Carolina. It was uncalled for in how I reacted. The story should have been how well South Carolina played, and I don't want actions to detract from that." He then added, "I've had a great relationship with their staff, and I sincerely want to apologize to them." Now, wait a minute. At what point in that fake apology that I don't even believe he wrote and was forced to do by UConn executives did he apologize to Coach Don Staley? Last year, like I said, UConn beat South Carolina by 23 points on the way to winning their national championship. And Coach Don Staley showed her true colors, like Candace Parker referred to. Now, let me say this first, Oliver. None of us are in a position to judge anyone, and no one deserves to be tied down to their worst moment, okay? But I'll just say this, just like Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris told us exactly what President Trump was going to do, legendary women's basketball coach Pat Summitt of Tennessee told us what Gino was all about. And like Candace Parker concurred, over and over time, people's true color comes out. And I think that's what we saw with Coach Gino Auriemma. South Carolina snapped UConn's 54 game winning streak, and King Gino, he didn't like it. Kind of like somebody we know that's in office. Troy, what's your thoughts on this confrontation between Gino and Don? Troy.
It's not a good look. Ultimately, um, UConn is known for the standard of not necessarily perfection, but just doing things in a way that stands out from the rest. And I feel as if with this going on, the fact that he didn't actually apologize to Don Staley as opposed to saying I apologize to the staff. I do feel like it was half-hearted. There's a lot of speculation, but ultimately I don't like getting too deep into that in regards to like people's business and
Mm-hmm.
how they handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I'll say, you made a great point about Pat Summit kind of, pointed out a long time ago, back when they had their runs in the, in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, so on and so forth. But anyway, I look at it as, Dawn, she got put in a really bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if the team naturally took that energy on that she was feeling in a negative tone, because when you see and hear the things that she was saying, I think that she didn't really mean it. But I feel as if, you can't take back, yeah, like I would beat Geno's, but like, nah, you can't say that. Like, this is where, you know, as, as tempering as it was, you got to find a way to, keep your cool. But again, I can't you know, I'm not gonna be no hypocrite. I don't know what I would do in that scenario if I felt disrespected like that. So I feel as if this definitely took on a bad like notion on how the team responded to it.
Felix, what was your thoughts?
I'm going to say this, right? And I'm all for retribution. Like, how do I put it? Apologies. I'm all for redemption. I'm all for people, acknowledging their mistakes. But here's my problem. I noticed that there's a pattern. Every time someone does something, right? They do something that's obviously wrong. They say something obviously wrong, something that's inexcusable, something that a child knows not to say or do. Even a kid knows not to say or do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a formula. They all say, and it's the exact words. I notice this every time. There's no excuse for what I did. Okay, that part's true. It's unlike what I do in the standard. They always want to say this no longer reflects who I am. They always throw something of that nature
Mm-hmm.
into the apology. It's so cookie cutter, and I can smell it from a mile away. Every single apology I've looked at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single apology, whether it was a player using a celebrity using a slur, whether it was a celebrity committing some act of violence, some crime, this, that. It's always that does not reflect who I am today. I'm thinking to myself, look, that would make sense if you made a joke. Now, I know a lot of people have made jokes when they were kids, not understanding the weight of what they said.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense. Okay, you're in high school and you're making edgy jokes. You don't know what the line is. You're starting to feel comfortable for a lot of people saying certain things for the first time. To a lesser extent, college kids, but there's a certain line that even a kid knows, hey, I really shouldn't say that in that context, or hey, you should have said that. And I see grown adults do this time and time again, and they use the same excuse. That doesn't reflect the person I am today. You know what I mean? I feel like common sense, we can mostly decipher between a joke, something you meant well and accidentally offended somebody with, and something you had no business doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that.
Felix, that's a great point. And here's the thing: I think everybody will allow somebody to apologize when they mess up,
Right.
but I think where the problem is, people know when it's sincere and when it's not. And
Bingo.
and I don't believe anyone believed that this apology that he put out was sincere. Because listen, man, I can't smack Felix and then apologize to Troy and not to Felix. That's that's not how this works. That's not correct. Troy will be like, "What are you apologizing to me for? You didn't hit me." That's what he did. So that's so insincere and so fake, and that's the whole thing. Everybody misses the mark. Okay, we all miss the mark, but we all have the ability to repent and be forgiven. But people just want it to be sincere. That's all. If you're really sorry, say you're sorry. And if you're not, and in the post game press conference, he kept saying I noticed, Felix, that the reporters kept giving him an opportunity to take it back. And he kept saying, I don't regret what I said. I don't regret what I said. And I'm like, dude, you just digging You just digging the hole deeper, man. And that's why I feel like that the Connecticut brass made him do that apology because the reporters gave him multiple times to repent and apologize, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So it is what it is. Hey, Texas and UCLA. Oh yeah, there was another game. Number one seeded UCLA, 36-1 and 18-0 in the Big Ten, defeated number one seeded Texas, who was 35-4, and the only team to beat UCLA this year. They were 13-3 in the SEC. UCLA beat them 51-44 Friday night to advance to its first national title game in their NCAA era. The Bruins only shot 40% from the field, their lowest scoring outing of the season. Guys, I always say that in the playoffs, yeah, in the playoffs and in clutch, your superstars have to play like stars. And for the women UCLA Bruins, you can bet on it, as in Lauren bets. In a tightly contested semifinal game, it came down to one moment to remember from the big game. With less than a minute left in the game, Texas superstar Madison Booker went strong to the hole for a game-tying layup when senior Lauren Betts blocked the layup to secure the victory for the Bruins. Betts was an imposing defensive juggernaut all night long, holding Madison Booker to 3 for 23 shooting. Come on, man. When your superstar is 3 for 23 shooting, that's an L. And scoring just 6 points total. And Betts blocked Booker's shot 3 times in the game, leading to Booker's worst game of the season. While Betts played like the star that she is with 16 points and 11 rebounds, adding to her 21st double-double of the season, which leads us to yesterday's NCAA Women's Championship game between South Carolina and UCLA. So let's jump right into that. The women's NCAA championship game, South Carolina, guys, I think what Troy was just saying, South Carolina spent themselves toppling UConn, and they had no gas left for a freight train of UCLA led by 6'7" Lauren Betts. Look, man, you don't see too many 6'7" women. And Gabrielle Jaquez in a blowout, 79-51 to win the program's first NCAA women's basketball national championship on Sunday. Now, and I'm not taking anything from the Lady Bruins. The better team clearly won this game. It was an overall dominant performance. The Bruins had 6 seniors, and 5 of them scored in double figures, and the sixth senior had 9 points. That's outstanding. And it's total dominance spread across the whole team. That's how Michigan dominated Arizona. The Big Ten is getting it done in 2026 with national championships in football, uh, women's basketball. Let's see if Michigan men can pull it off tonight. If they team can get her done. The Lady Bruins finished the season with 31 straight wins. That's the longest streak in program's history. Only, like I said, only losing to Texas early in the season, but they got their revenge in Friday's semifinal matchup. This game was never in doubt. South Carolina was a great defensive team, but not a great offensive shooting team. And they were doing a good job of getting the ball down low, but they had no answers for the 6'7" Lauren Betts in the paint. Too big and too dominant. If South Carolina's second consecutive blowout loss in the NCAA championship game after losing to UConn last year, 82-59, Lauren Betts won the MOP, the most outstanding player. Troy, what was your thoughts on the championship game, UCLA, South Carolina? What give us your thoughts on that, Troy?
Well, UCLA out hustled South Carolina this whole game. South Carolina can. Here's one thing I'll say. This is probably the worst showing that I've seen South Carolina play, not just in the championship, but in the tournament in a long time.
Yep.
They didn't rebound. They didn't finish at the rim well. Um, and they kept giving up second chance points. And that's ultimately, in my opinion, what killed them. Now, looking at the stats and looking at how, I look at Gabriela Jaquez, and I'm telling you, in my opinion, she was the MVP of this game,
Yep.
not the whole tournament, but of this game. She brought an extra type of fire where it's like, okay, you the starting guard and you got a double double in points and rebounds, not assists. right? But you still got 5 assists. You still find a way to not turn the ball over more than one time. Man, look, this team out hustled South Carolina. They were burnt.
Mhm.
And at that point, by the time, it was closing, they just knew last 8 minutes it was over with.
Mhm. Felix, this kind of remind me of when in Miracle when the U.S. beat the unbeatable Soviet hockey team in 1980, and then you like that, Felix, and to beat the Russians and then not win the gold medal in the next game. I think that's kind of what happened. I think they were just out of gas. What was your thoughts on this one, Felix?
Exactly. I mean, that's the best way to put it. And sometimes when you win that major game,
Hmm.
you're and that game sometimes takes so much out of you.
Hmm.
That's what happens. I mean, UCLA, I take absolutely nothing away from this team, but I don't genuinely think that they're that much better than South Carolina. Now, maybe, well, actually, I'd say, can you argue that they are better? Yeah, I mean, they're 37-1.
Hmm.
Like, first off,
Hmm.
I mean, let's start off with that. It's just that we haven't been hearing their name as much as South Carolina or even UConn, but they're a team that people didn't expect to come up, and they did. They rose up to the occasion. But at the same time, them getting blown out in this manner, not so much getting beat, but getting blown out by 28 points,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's burnout. And it's like what you said about the San Francisco 49ers a few years back, 2022. Every time they faced an opponent, the way they'd wear their opponents out, every single time their opponent had an opponent the week after, they would lose that game.
Hmm.
Every time they played the 49ers.
Hmm.
So you kind of saw a microcosmic example of that with South Carolina after playing a tough battle against one of the best programs in the country, going up against the UCLA team that's one of the best in their own right. And that's the problem. When your other team didn't have as much of a competition coming into the game as you did, that creates a gap that otherwise would not be there.
I agree. I think UCLA was the better team, but for them to lose the way they lost, it just told me that South Carolina was out of gas. You know, I still don't see that happening. Okay, guys, let's take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
Window Nation is on the Morgan's home turf to huddle up about replacing their drafty old windows.
This free estimate is showing how easy it is to tackle the problem.
We can get any of these windows custom made.
Yes, you can get the quality and style you really want.
And at a more affordable price than they ever imagined.
Now that they've sealed the deal, they'll be saving money year-round.
We're really confident with Window Nation.
Get your free estimate today and get 60% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 24 months at getwindownation.com.
Sheltered by the Sea of Cortez, Danzante Bay is a pure and peaceful oasis, an uncrowded retreat where your options are as vast as your views. If you're seeking a vacation that defines luxury and the true relaxation, look no further than Villa del Palmar at the islands of Loreto. A splendor of true Mexican hospitality effortlessly blends with rich materials and insatiable comforts to bring guests the ideal home away from home experience. With its quiet beaches, scenic vistas, rich history, and an astounding surrounding natural habitat, you'll feel as though you've been swept off to paradise. Not to be outdone, Reese Jones has crafted TPC Danzante Bay, a brilliant, multi-themed 18-hole golf course that runs over and through valleys, arroyos, dunes, and foothills. From every angle, striking images of the islands of Loreto and the surrounding mountain range take your breath away, while the challenging yet rewarding Baja golf course beckons you to return for more. It is an honor and my pleasure to welcome you to the world's most beautiful sunset and so much more.
And we're back. Okay, guys, we need to talk about this. It's kind of like last week with the Tiger story that none of us really wanted to talk about, but it's news, so we have to cover it. Last week, the Chicago Bulls cut former first round draft pick Jaden Ivey and will swallow his $10 million guaranteed salary for him to just go home. Okay. As Clint Eastwood would say, don't go away mad, just go away. They cut Jaden Ivey for conduct detrimental to the team. Now, after Ivy criticized the NBA's support of the LGBTQ and community, Ivy was drafted number 5 overall in 2022 by the Detroit Pistons and was traded by Detroit before the February deadline as part of a 3-team deal. He got off to a rocky start in Chicago, playing in only 4 games before completely falling out of the rotation. It was a stunning decline for the player who once appeared to be the long-term backcourt running mate for Cade Cunningham in Detroit. Here's what Ivy posted on Instagram. So let's get exactly what he said. He's that got him fired. Okay, the world can proclaim LGBTQ right, Ivy said. They proclaim Pride Month, and the NBA they proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, "Come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness." They proclaim it on the billboards, they proclaim it in the streets, unrighteousness. After the news leaked that the Bulls intended to waive Ivy, he live streamed from a plane to address several topics, including his beliefs. 2 days later, Ivy streamed live again from a car, reading Bible scriptures and speaking extensively on his religious beliefs over the course of a 75-minute live stream. The NBA has not commented on Ivy's comments or release. Ivy will receive his full $10.1 million salary for the season. Once he clears waivers, Ivy will be an unrestricted free agent and able to sign with any NBA team. Now, a lot of people feel that the Bulls made the right move by cutting him loose, and others feel different. Jaden Ivey said that this is what Jaden Ivey said that homosexuality is unrighteous and the Bulls waived him. Now, Anthony Edwards said a group of men he'd seen in a photo were queer MFs, and the NBA just fined him. Now, the difference is one guard is a shadow of his former self, and the other is an Olympian and an all NBA superstar performer. Uh, okay, guys, Felix, this ain't fun, but what's your thoughts on this? Let me just throw this in there. Shaq came out and said, he's in full support of Jaden Ivey because this is America. And in America, we're supposed to have free speech. And the thing about free speech is you have to be willing to somebody yelling and screaming something that you would die and fight over, but you gotta accept the right that they have the right to say it. Felix, what's your thoughts?
Here's my thing, and this is coming from a Christian. Of course, I have my own values, beliefs, and and this is coming from a Christian right here.
Okay.
It's one thing to say, hey, I have my concerns with people saying things that contradict my faith. Now, here's the thing. Christians have been watching the NBA. We know that, okay, yeah, the NBA has a pride thing. If your beliefs go against something, you don't have to participate in it.
That's
For
right.
example, there are Christian hockey players during Pride Night for the NHL games. They don't use rainbow tape. They're not, again, they're not being hateful towards the people who are, gay, who have a different lifestyle. For example, I have friends who are of different faiths. Unlike me, they might not eat pork. They might not do certain things that I can do as a Christian. It doesn't mean they hate me or I hate them. We can disagree peacefully.
Mhm.
And while our beliefs are being understood. Now, here's where here's the problem with what Jaden Ivey did. So it's not so much what he said. If he's speaking to a Christian audience, trying to tell them, hey, look, even if the world and people you agree with love, people, even sporting events, organizations that you love, you indulge in, do stuff that counter your faith, you can still be about your faith. And, hey, you don't have to participate. You could take that at face value. If it was just that, that's one thing. Here's what he did. There were people in his comment sections that were trying to support him, trying to talk to them. He was kind of pushing them off. He was calling them sinner. You're this. You're just, and someone said he was going to pray for Jaden Ivey. He says, "Oh, isn't going to listen to your prayer because you're sinful, this, that, and the third." I'm like, wait a second. This guy Jaden Ivey doesn't come off as a sincere Christian voicing his concerns. He comes off as a person who's using the artifice of faith to punch down on others, which is a sin in itself. That's my problem with Jaden Ivey. Because here's the thing: he's not the only Christian in the NBA. He's not the only Christian in sports.
That's right.
And the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of other Christians out there that don't do this. I mean, I have the same religious views as him, but you don't see me punching down on people I disagree with. I'm going to proclaim my faith. I'm not going to, be scared to do that. But it doesn't. Our faith isn't a ticket for us to just attack you. Because here's the thing: when you're just attacking people, you're not really spreading the message. You're just yelling what people already know about you. And I'm sorry this is kind of long, but one other thing I want to close off on. I do agree with you that they're very arbitrary on how they decide to punish people. If someone is established or someone has a certain level of the rank, they're allowed to say whatever, and maybe they get off with a proverbial slap on the wrist if it's more so egregious. Now, I don't know the exact context of what the guy said. I don't know if he said it as a joke or whatever when he did it. I have to read the text, but it sounds pretty nasty. I'm not going to deny that. But it's at the same time, this is a messy situation altogether. It requires a lot of nuanced thought to really break down. But hey, I could have given Jaden Ivey the benefit of the doubt if it weren't for him punching down on people who are trying to reach out and have a discussion with him.
Great point. Troy, you want to comment on that at all?
Yeah, talking too much. Just keep your mouth shut.
I agree.
As simple as that. Like you don't have to, put yourself in front of a train like that. Like, why? you could have just kept your peace. You could have answered the question very simple, and then just kept your personal beliefs to yourself. Some things people don't need to know about you, and you running your mouth, and then got over millions of people talking about you because now you're the center of attention of it. Life and death is found in the power of the tongue. So it's like you gotta understand, like, a lot of times it's best for you to just remain quiet. Don't put yourself in a position just because I have the right of way doesn't mean I want to walk out in front of a car that's speeding. Don't do it.
Great point.
You're asking for failure. So that's what I gotta say.
Great point, Troy. On our Grace Devotionals last week, our title was Love Fulfills the Law. And Lord, there was two things that we needed to do that you mentioned about loving the Lord and loving people. How did you put that, Lori?
The gospel is simple. Love God, love people.
There you go.
And the law is fulfilled.
There you go. And it's like, well, how do I know? Listen, like Felix said, when you're in the right, when you're walking in the spirit and not in the flesh, you're never going to be in a position where you're going to be putting people down.
That's right.
Our job is always 365 days of the year, 24/7, to be uplifting people and not putting people down, even when they're wrong. Because we just come out of Easter weekend, and Jesus said, "Love your enemies." Love the people that despitefully misuse you. Okay, because if you only love the people that love you, what good is that? Okay, so I agree with you, Felix. Troy, both of you guys nailed it. Like I said, it's not something we want to spend a whole time, but we needed to address it. Go ahead, Dr. Lauren.
One more thing. The issue is if you're walking the walk, that speaks louder than talking the talk.
There you go. There you go. And the last thing I'll say on it, Jesus is our example for everything. And he just took it. He said, Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And I'm so glad he did. Hey, gang, it's time for our segment. It's time for our segment of the show called the Tom the Bomb Sportsman of the Week. Like I said, we're a sports talk show from a Christian point of view, and our theme has always been, do you want to win at all costs? Because sometimes you win, but you lose, and sometimes you lose, but you win. So, how we win and lose in life truly matters. So, we're going to pray for Jaden Ivey for sure. Okay. So, because how we win and lose in life truly matters. March was our National Women's Month, and it just ended. Okay, so our Tom the Bomb Sportsman of the Week is South Carolina women's basketball coach Dawn Staley. And strictly, and just because, like you said, in the heat of the moment, you can get caught up in the passion. But we both just like the way she handled herself. Like I said, if we can go all the way back to last year when UConn beat South Carolina by 23 points, she said all the right things. She stood at the mic, she took it, she said all the right things. And when the shoe was on the other foot, we didn't get that from the other side. But even still, like you said, Troy, he put her in a really bad position, and I thought she handled it well. And that's why Don Staley is our sportsman of the week. Good job, Don. All right, guys, let's get to our trivia questions today. Our trivia question was freshman sensation Keaton Wagler of University of Illinois, who scored 23 points, and freshman sensation Brandon Mullins of UConn became the second set of freshmen to score 15 points or more in an NCAA Final Four game against each other. So the trivia question is, who were the first pair of freshmen to pull that feat off? Felix, you want to take a stab at that?
I'll let Troy do that one. Sorry, man.
I'll give you guys a hint. It was
Okay.
it was 1982.
Great.
That's a great hint.
Helps me. Yeah, I'm getting facetious. I don't know about that easy. Here, let me think. All right.
Felix, it was
Freshman in
1982, if that helps you out.
So that means they were drafted about 86, right?
Well, that's good. Yeah. So
Mhm.
who were the first two pair of freshmen to score 15 points or more in an NCAA Final Four game against each other? Troy?
Bobby. No, I don't know, man.
Okay.
I'm just not.
The answer is Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing. They faced off in the 1982 NCAA championship, and Michael Jordan hit the game-winning shot from the corner. Michael was a freshman, and Patrick Ewing were a freshman. So the answer to the trivia question is Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing, two pretty good freshmen, wouldn't you say?
I had an idea that one of them
Good
had
time.
been Jordan because I was doing the math in my head. That would have meant they were drafted in the mid 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And Jordan has been torturing Patrick Ewing ever since. Did you guys have anything? Hey, Felix, Felix, you know that your Nationals are playing my Cardinals right now. Are we going to be friends tomorrow?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right. I love it. Maybe we can check one of those games out over there. Well, actually, not because Troy and I are hitting the road. Hey, gang, that's our show for today. Our Grace devotionals have moved to Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so you guys want to check that out? Like I said, you can go to YouTube and catch our previous show from Saturday, which was Love Fulfills the Law, which was really, really, really powerful, and it really tied into Easter weekend. So if you guys haven't checked that out, you definitely want to check that out. As usual, I want to thank Felix and Troy. You guys were spot on, excellent as usual. You boys are tight. You boys are sharp. Hey gang, don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube and hit that like bell, please. That helps us out. If you're enjoying the content and you'd like to bless our ministry, you can sow into the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk by cash apping us at $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. Again, that's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And don't forget to check out our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. You can also email us at info@tomthebombsports.com. That's info@tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, for a dynamic and in-depth sports analysis and highlights for sports in the DMV and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Saturdays on WBGR with my main man, Mr. Felix Bassey. His future so bright, he's got to wear shades. So if you see Felix at nighttime and he got on shades, that's just because he's that dynamic. That's who he is. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. We don't take that for granted. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour out an abundance of blessings down on you that there won't be room enough to contain it as you live off the overflow and step boldly into the realm of grace. This is the year of grace and beyond. Okay. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not necessarily a Thursday, just for you. You guys got anything before we sign off? Anything, Felix, Troy?
Go UConn.
Go UConn.
Like that.
Felix, you got anything before we sign off?
I don't think it would be appropriate to say go Nationals on your show today.
Of course it would. Of course it would. I know that's your team. You know, I have much respect for you in the National. And when they aren't playing against the Cardinals, I'm rooting for the Nationals. You know that. You know?
That's so nice.
Now the Wizards might be something different.
That'd be asking you too much.
Hey, gang, Tom the Bomb wants to leave you with a thought. Listen, duct tape may patch a lot of things, but 3 nails fixed everything. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. May God bless you guys. You guys have a good evening. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm excited. Troy says go UConn. Come on, man. I'm Big Ten, man. You guys know, even when if Illinois is in there, I'm pulling for Michigan and Big Blue. Let's go, Big Blue. And let's go Redbirds. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you guys next time. Tom the Bomb, Felix, and Troy. Dr. Lauren, we're out.
This is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine, daughter of mine. This is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
Well, I'm coming out with a word in my mouth, filled with excitement to say what it's all about. For a long time, I've held this water in, let the floodgates open, let the miracles begin. I've prayed, and I've gone back 7 times, look again, cause the miracles are mine, stir the water. I'm about to step in like the pool of Bethesda, let the healing begin.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
It took a minute to get my composure right. For years it seems like I've been fighting for my life. Confusing times when my days resemble nights. But now this eagle is about to take flight and soar out of darkness to its revelation light. Though the waves are rough, I step out my comfort zone to walk on water, cause I know I'm not alone. God's got my back and reminds me I'm his own. His words are sweet in my mouth, they taste like a honeycomb. And faith has opened up my eyes. I've been through the fire, tested and tried. As I study God's word, I finally realize that my purpose to visualize, to bring the unseen from the realm of under night until I walk into the fullness of a purpose-filled life, cause I'm light. Yes, I am light, and I shine bright. I am an investment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Not only am I light, I am salt. When I enter in, I add flavor to it all. I bring truth, there's no dispute. Jesus is the vine, and in him I take root. I am the head, and not the tail. I'm an overcomer made free to prevail. A new design, a special kind, ambassador followed by wonders and signs. I am light, and I give signs.